If I was given this job at this time and I had no prior knowledge or experience of it, would I do this? Would I take this opportunity? And if your answer is fuck no, I would not, then that's a very clear indication that it's time to move the fuck on and figure out a different way.
Big fucking dreams. All right then. You got this.
Hey, big fucking dreamers. So pumped to be here with you today to talk about a pattern that I actually see playing out. And sometimes people don't know that this pattern is playing out until I spot it or until I talk about it or until someone's getting coached and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was happening. So probably about a few months ago, my mother-in-law came with me and I was like, I want to plant an herb garden. I'm like, I'm in my mid-30s. I watched the Martha Stewart documentary. I'm in my Martha era. I'm married now. I'm a respectable woman, and I'm going to have an herb garden. And my mother-in-law also listens to this episode. So, Julie, hey, if you're listening to this. So anyway, we go to Bunnings, which is like Home Depot if you're in Australia. We go to Bunnings. We get a bunch of herbs. I spend like $400 on it. My husband and I do. We do all this planting. And then probably 2 weeks later, I'm basically like, I don't like having an herb garden. Like there are bugs on it. I don't like maintaining it. We did plant a garden in our front courtyard, which I do really like. That's not herbs, that's just plants. But I was basically just like, I don't like doing this. This isn't for me. Then I was thinking, well, I've already invested time, like my mother-in-law's time as well. I've already invested my time in it. We already spent a lot of money on it. I can't just neglect this herb garden because I've already dedicated so much to it. And this is a construct and it's called the sunk cost fallacy, which is basically that you don't move forward with something because of the time and investment, or you don't leave something because of the time and investment that you've already spent in it. So even though I don't really like this herb garden, I was thinking, well, I spent $400. I invested my mother-in-law's time. Like I can't just abandon this project. So if you think about something as, insubstantial as an herb garden, or maybe you love your herb garden, no shade to you. But if you think of something like that, how small that is, and even how much of an attachment has grown, and then I get to people that have invested so much time, money, often education, building careers that they don't really like. And I had a client when she first came to me, she was crying. And sometimes people call me and they're crying in their first call. And she basically was like, I work for a toxic boss. I'm a lawyer. I've worked so hard to get here. I don't actually like this. I don't even know what to do. And I just said, well, why don't you leave? Why don't you leave law? And she looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And she was like, do you know how much time and money and energy I've spent on getting to this place? I can't just throw it all away. Now, some people say I can't just throw it all away. Or what about the amount of money I make? Or I have such a great brand. I have such a great reputation. I can't just leave that all behind. That is an indicator to me that they are experiencing the sunk cost fallacy. Or a sunk cost bias, which is basically you aren't leaving things because of time, energy, effort. And I see this so much, especially in corporate careers, around two areas, which is money and then brand reputation, and then also identity to the organization. So first of all, a lot of people don't want to leave their salary. That's very common. People will come to me and they'll say, I can't just give up what I've been doing. Maybe I earn 200, 300, 400K. I can't really leave that. I've got a mortgage, blah, blah, blah. I have things tied to it. The second thing is I love the identity that either this job gives me. I love being a lawyer, or I don't actually love being a lawyer. I love that people know that I'm a lawyer. There's a big difference there. Or it could be I work for Uber, or I work for Canva, or I work for Google, or I work for Goldman Sachs. It's super impressive. I love seeing people's reactions when I say where I work. Sometimes people will admit that, sometimes they won't. Or your identity is really tied to I work at this place and therefore I am worthy. Now, if you are experiencing those things, you are more likely to be susceptible to this sunk cost bias. And I just went over all of this on a webinar that I had really recently. make your next career move, because I see a lot of times this is what keeps people stuck. But this isn't just career. This keeps people stuck in relationships. This keeps people stuck doing projects. This keeps people stuck in bad investments too, like an investment property or a stock that's continually going down. And you just think, well, I've already spent so much time, so much money. I can't get out now. I have to make it up. And what you want to think about is, well, what is this actually costing me? So what is it costing me in the long term to stay in this, but then also to not move forward in something? And usually there's certain types of people who are more susceptible to this. So people that have been, long-term tenured employees, I call this the loyal soldier syndrome, where they feel like they are, they owe something to their organization, or they owe something to their team, they owe something to their manager, and they are really acting from a place of duty, not acting from a place of alignment or where they want to go. Then there's people that have, all of their self-worth wrapped up in the identity. I call this the borrowed identity archetype. So my self-worth is wrapped up in working for LinkedIn or working for Uber or working for this big law firm, or my identity is wrapped up in being a lawyer, and you can't imagine who you would be without this specific thing. And then there's also really the anxious overachiever. So the person that just feels like an impending sense of anxiety about not really knowing what to do next. So if you feel like this is you and you are stuck, first of all, join my course. This is exactly what my course works for. This is exactly why the Life and Work Transformation exists, to help you make your next career move and look at what season of life that you're in. But if you can't join the course, then there's a few things that you could do. So one is really give yourself a time limit. And I'm talking in the upcoming episodes on just ring fencing things. So really give yourself a time limit for the type of decision that you're going to make. So a lot of times there can be tension of, do I stay? Do I go? Especially around career, where what should I really do next? And really say, okay, I'm going to decide by X date whether I'm staying or whether I'm leaving. If I'm staying, I'm fully committing to staying. If I'm leaving, then I'm fully committing to leaving. And then I'm using all of my time, resources, energy outside of my job to actually execute something, to actually start going on interviews. Can be so much time and overwhelm spent in the indecision. So first of all, ring fence this, give yourself an end date. Now, the second thing, if you feel like you're experiencing the sunk cost bias, is asking yourself, if I was given this job or whatever it is, this project, this opportunity, if it was presented to me at this time and I had no prior knowledge or experience of it, I just looked at it as it is currently right now, I had no previous investment in it, would I do this? Would I take this opportunity? And if your answer is fuck no, I would not, then that's a very clear indication that it's time to move the fuck on and figure out a different way. So you want to look at something with blank eyes and think, okay, would I go for this? But sometimes you might think, actually, yeah, I would. And actually, yeah, maybe this job or maybe this relationship or maybe this friendship is a good one, but it's just my anxiety getting to it, or it's just my unease in a certain area, or I like 70% of it, but this one particular area isn't what I do like. So how do I work on fixing that? But you want to come to it with really a blank slate. Then I want you to calculate the actual cost of staying. Now, sometimes people calculate the cost of leaving, where they will say, and I see this more often, they'll say, okay, what about the salary? What about the brand reputation I have built up? What about the relationships? Now, I want you to do the inverse. And I want you to think, if I stay here, what is that going to cost me in brand equity somewhere else? If I do want to make a career pivot, what is another year or 2 years going to cost me in terms of building toward that new career? And I think about this in my business. I am so happy that I quit corporate when I did to transition. And I actually I wish I'd started this sooner, because I really know this is exactly what I want to be doing. But 1 to 2 years can make a huge difference in your career. And that trajectory can compound over time. So if I had 1 to 2 years more experience doing what I'm doing, I know my business I look at how much my business is transformed and skyrocketed in 2 years. If I was another 2 years ahead, it would be somewhere completely different. So really start to think, if I'm staying here, what is it costing me? And this is especially true for long-term tenured employees. And I was talking to someone the other day who was at an organization for 11 years, and he was saying to me, I really wish I had left after 7, because after 7, things start to tap out. And I do tend to coach a lot of long-term tenured employees, even though the average tenure usually, especially for the millennial workforce, is around 2 years. For some reason, I think because I work with a lot of people in tech, and a lot of people in tech tend to stay put for a long period of time. But I do usually coach people that can be anywhere from 7 to 14 years in one organization. And there is a tipping point of how much you can learn. So really think about, if I'm staying here, what's the cost going to me long term? How can I actually quantify that? And then I would also get an outside perspective. Now, this is with a coach. This is with a mentor, someone you really trust, and you saying, okay, this is what's actually going on. And this outside perspective usually can't be your partner, because if you think about your partner, especially if you are financially supporting your partner, or the majority of households today aren't single income households. So they have such a stake in the game. They are not an objective person. They cannot give you an unbiased opinion, because their comfort often depends on your salary as well. So usually, especially if you're going to take a pay cut, unless you have a partner that's, the most unbiased and objective partner in the world, usually they're not the right person to go to. You need to seek some sort of outside solace or outside opinion to help you make this decision. And the third, or this isn't the third, I don't know what this is, maybe the fifth, is really, like I said, setting a date. Just making sure you've got a clear date that okay, by this time, I'm going to make this decision. Now, if you do want support with this, again, the Life and Work Transformation starts April 17th. It's shaping up to be a really amazing cohort. I'm so excited about it. I'm talking about this in some future episodes, but I think this is going to be the last time that I run this program in this particular format. So if you've been on the fence about it and you've been thinking about it, definitely book in a call with me, send me a DM. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to support you. And it's really all around taking the next step in your career, building a career where you feel confident, successful, you like what you're doing day in, day out. You don't feel like totally freaked out by what you're doing or want to bang your head up against the wall. And you also want to feel that confidence and that success doing what you're doing. So I would love to hear from you. Let me know if this worked. But if you are experiencing the sunk cost bias, what's really important here is taking action to get out of it and really taking those next steps to really further your career. So big fucking dreamers, that is all from me today. I will see you next week.
Big fucking dream.